My Hero Ultra Rumble is a battle royale set in the My Hero Academia universe, and with 51 unique hero and villain battle styles currently in the game, there are more ways to play than ever before. The character you choose to main often says a lot about you as a player. My name's Yestermorn, and in this video we're taking a look at what your Ultra Rumble main says about you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and with that out of the way, let's get into it. First are the strikes. These characters are all about burst damage and getting KOs. Katsuki Bakugo. You probably enjoy variety. When it comes to music, food, or even anime, you don't like locking yourself into a single lane. You'd rather sample different genres and see what sticks than commit too early. You tend to keep things flexible and open-ended. You're comfortable switching things up, trying new experiences, and moving on quickly if something stops being interesting. After all, why would you limit yourself? Shoto Todoroki. You tend to brute force your way through obstacles when they get in your path. When you're dealing with a problem, it might not always look clean or elegant, but you'll do whatever it takes to push through it as efficiently as possible. You value results over aesthetics, and once you've set your mind on something, you're hard to slow down. And yes, your favorite food is cold soba. Denki Kaminari. You like to joke around and keep things light, but when it's time to get serious, you're usually the first one to lock in and get things done. You know how to flip the switch when it matters. People often underestimate you, and you're perfectly fine with that. If anything, you tend to use it to your advantage. Tomura Shigaraki. You're a menace to society, and you lean into it. More than anything, you enjoy tearing things down and watching people scramble when chaos hits. You might be lacking in a few areas, but that's never stopped you. Disorder is where you're most comfortable, and when everything starts falling apart, that's exactly where you thrive. Endeavor. You tend to do things your own way and rarely look back with regret. People are always ready to offer advice, but you usually ignore it. You know what works for you, and outside opinions don't carry much weight. Izuku Midoriya, Full Bullet. You're all about precision. Watching people make careless mistakes gets on your nerves, mostly because you can't afford to mess up. You aren't afraid of getting your hands dirty, but if you're going to, you might as well make it worth it. If something's worth doing, you believe it's worth doing right. Otherwise, what's the point? Dabi, Crazy Torch. You never cared much for strategy or long-term planning. To you, all of that just feels like a distraction from your goal. Through trial and error, you've come to realize that plans are overrated, and the best way to get something done is to reach out and take it yourself. Present Mike. You're the life of the party. You like being heard, setting the tone, and keeping the energy up wherever you go. Silence makes you uncomfortable, so you fill up the space, usually with confidence. Eijiro Kirishima, Red Drive. You don't live by strict rules or standards. You do whatever feels right in the moment, and because of that, people often see you as unpredictable. But being a loose cannon is part of the appeal, and honestly, it's way more fun that way. Hitoshi Shinzo. You're patient and calculated. You don't rush into things, and you're comfortable waiting for the right moment rather than forcing an outcome. You tend to think a few steps ahead and prefer control over chaos. You're not really interested in flashy results or instant gratification. You'd rather win by being deliberate, staying composed, and letting other people make the mistakes first. You're also probably pretty good at manipulating people. Itsuka Kendo, Twin Palm Strike. You're confident and decisive. You don't hesitate when it's time to step in and take control, and you're comfortable being the one who sets the pace rather than reacting to others. You trust your instincts, value self-reliance, and prefer to handle problems head-on. You don't need flashy tricks to feel effective. You're perfectly content knowing you can hold your ground and make things happen when it counts. Tamaki Yamajiki. You're more confident than you let on. You might not always look like the loudest or flashiest person in a room, but once you get moving, you're hard to stop. You like staying quick, keeping pressure on, and making sure your effort actually pays off. When you commit to something, you commit fully, and you're surprisingly effective because of that. Hawks, Slicing Wind. You like having the best of both worlds. You don't want to choose between speed and power when you can have both. Being able to move freely and make an impact matters to you. You prefer staying one step ahead, keeping control of the situation, and avoiding unnecessary risks. Efficiency is the goal. Why struggle when you can stay mobile and get results? Lady Nagant. You like being in control. You prefer keeping your distance, lining things up carefully, and ending situations before they ever spiral. Precision matters to you, and you'd rather act deliberately than rush in blindly. You're comfortable taking your time, waiting for the right moment, and making sure that when you do commit, it actually counts. Or you simply main her because of how good she is right now. The Assaults. These characters are the most defensive, usually specializing in close combat. Izuku Midoriya. You're comfortable with the basics. You don't feel the need to overcomplicate things or chase something flashy just to stand out. Straightforward and reliable is more your speed. People might call you basic for it, but that doesn't really bother you. You know what you like, and you're perfectly fine sticking with something familiar that just works. Eijiro Kirishima. You like keeping things simple and honest. You're the type of person who commits fully and doesn't overthink every decision. Once you're in, you're all in. You value reliability, loyalty, and doing things head on. People know where you stand, and you'd rather face problems directly rather than dance around them, even if that means taking a hit or two along the way. Itsuka Kendo. You don't really care what's considered optimal or meta at the moment. You play what you like, and you're perfectly fine sticking with something that isn't the popular choice. You're patient and deliberate, often waiting for the exact right moment to act. You don't rush in, you watch, you wait, and then when you do strike, it's quick and decisive, almost like a viper. All Might. You're probably an old soul, or at least someone who can appreciate the classics. You like things that are tried and true, and you tend to stick with what's proven to work rather than chasing whatever's new. You value tradition and doing things the right way. There's a comfort in the familiar for you, and you don't see any reason to move away from it. Mount Lady. You like things big, loud, and impossible to ignore. Subtlety isn't really your thing, and you don't pretend it is. If there's a way to make an entrance, you're taking it. You enjoy spectacle, embrace the chaos, and you're very aware of what draws attention, even if you'll never admit why. Tomura Shigaraki, Catastrophe. You're driven almost entirely by passion. When something grabs your attention, it consumes you, and you pour everything into it without second-guessing yourself. You act on emotion more than logic. It might not always be controlled or polished, but it's genuine, and that intensity has a way of overwhelming everything around you. Ochako Uraraka, Zero Satellites. You're annoying on purpose, and you know it. You like being hard to pin down, slipping away at the last second, and forcing people to deal with you longer than they want to. You enjoy having options and using them in a way that frustrates others. Being versatile isn't just useful, it's part of the fun, especially when it leaves people wondering how you're still getting away with it. Endeavor, Inferno Fist. You probably like playing the mage. You're perfectly content with sitting back, setting things up, and watching everything fall apart from a distance. There's something satisfying about letting the damage stack while you stay out of the chaos. You prefer control over confrontation, patience over rushing in. Why get your hands dirty when you can stand back and watch everything burn? Young All for One. You see yourself as an immovable force. Once you start moving in a direction, there's no stopping you. It's happening whether people like it or not. You don't rush, you don't panic, and you don't get pushed around. You are confident that eventually, everything in front of you is going to give way. Fumikage Tokoyami. People tend to underestimate you at first. You're quieter, a little darker, and not always the loudest presence in a room. That works in your favor more often than not. You're drawn to darker aesthetics and moods, and you're comfortable leaning into that side of yourself. You don't need to announce what you're capable of, you're fine letting people figure it out the hard way. The Rapids. These characters focus on speed and agility, making them hard to pin down. Ochako Uraraka. You value skill and consistency above anything else. You like knowing that if you play well and stay disciplined, you'll get results over time. You're reliable, steady, and comfortable doing the same things over and over. It's not about flashy moments for you, it's about being consistent and letting that add up. Tenya Ida. You go all out, regardless of consequences. When something needs to be done, you hit it at full speed and worry about the fallout later. You believe in commitment through action, not caution. Hesitation slows things down, and slowing down just isn't an option for you. Tsuyu Asawi. You're a quiet, looming threat. You're comfortable staying in the background, watching how things unfold, and stepping in only when it actually matters. You don't feel the need to force yourself into every situation. You wait, you observe, and when people need you most, that's when you make your move. Twice. You tend to start off slow. You take a bit of time finding your footing, but once things click, you build momentum fast. You get stronger the longer you're involved, and by the time everyone realizes what's happening, you're already in full swing. It's not about explosive starts, it's about snowballing. Katsuki Bakugo, Machine Gun. You like keeping a bit of distance. Not enough to disappear, but just enough to stay out of reach. You're involved and aware, you just don't let people get too close unless you want them to. You're comfortable operating on the edge, maintaining control by knowing when to engage and when to pull back. It's not about avoidance, it's about choosing when access is earned. Mirio Togeda. You're fully aware of your own weaknesses, but you don't let anyone else take advantage of them. You know where you fall short, and instead of ignoring it, you plan around it. Whenever you're at a disadvantage, you know when to pull back, reset, and come back on your own terms. You don't force things, you wait for the right moment to turn it around. Hawks. You're comfortable staying in the background and letting situations unfold. You don't feel the need to force yourself into the spotlight as long as you know things are moving in the right direction. You trust the process and the people around you. Instead of constant action, you prefer steady pressure and good timing, knowing that patience often does more work than rushing in. Himiko Toga, Sting Dance. You have a habit of sticking close and not letting go. You may be a bit clingy at times, but that's only because you care. When something has your attention, you stay involved and don't back off easily. You're energetic, persistent, and hard to ignore, not out of obsession, but commitment. All Might, Gatling. You like overwhelming presence. You'd rather apply non-stop pressure and keep things moving than wait around for the perfect moment. Momentum matters more to you than finesse. You believe that consistency and sheer output will eventually win. Why slow things down when you can keep pushing forward and never give anyone a chance to breathe? One for all Izuku Midoriya. You gravitate towards things that are easy to pick up and immediately effective. You don't really care if people roll their eyes or complain. If it works, it works. You're fully aware that you might be hated for it, and honestly, that just makes it funnier. Results matter more to you than approval, and you're perfectly fine letting others be annoyed while you get things done. The supports. These characters prioritize helping their team at all costs. Momo Yaoyorozu. You like being prepared. You're the type of person who feels most comfortable when you've thought things through and have a plan ready before anything goes wrong. You don't enjoy being caught off guard. Foresight, structure, and having the right tools at the right time give you confidence. Chaos just isn't your thing. Ibara Shiozaki. You're disciplined and principled. You tend to hold yourself to a higher standard and don't mind taking the harder path if it feels like the right one. You don't bend yourself to fit others. Instead, you stay firm in who you are and let the world adapt around you. Cementos. You're highly creative and enjoy thinking outside the box. You like finding unconventional solutions and turning ordinary situations into something useful. You're at your best when you're building, experimenting, and shaping things in your own way. Structure doesn't limit you, it gives you something to work with. Mr. Compress. You care a lot about style. How something looks and feels matters just as much as the result itself. You'd rather do things with flair than take the most straightforward path. Presentation is part of the experience for you. If you're going to make a move, it should be memorable. Overhaul. You don't naturally gravitate towards other people and prefer keeping your distance. Still, some of your best work happens when you're forced to collaborate. You might not enjoy it, but you're effective when it matters. Personal feelings take a seat back, results are what count. Kurogiri. You're dependable to a fault. You take pride in being the one others can rely on, even if you rarely get credit for it. You're comfortable staying behind the scenes, making sure everything runs smoothly. Support isn't a secondary role to you, it's where you do your best work. Lastly, the technicals. These characters are flexible and have unique abilities for almost any situation. Dabi. You're all about strategy and long-term planning. You don't rush into things or act on impulse, you rather think a few steps ahead and set things up so they fall apart on their own. You value preparation, patience, and control. For you, winning isn't all about speed, it's about positioning yourself so the outcome feels inevitable. Himiko Toga. You're curious by nature. You're drawn to people, personalities, and perspectives that aren't your own, and you like exploring what makes others tick. You adapt easily, slip into different roles when it suits you, and don't mind blurring the line between who you are and who you're around. Shota Aizawa. You're pragmatic and no nonsense. You don't waste energy on things that don't matter, and you prefer efficiency over theatrics. If there's a problem, you deal with it quietly and move on. You understand the importance of timing. Doing the right thing at the right time matters more to you than acting quickly or making a spectacle. All for one. You think long term. You're always looking at the bigger picture and considering how every move fits into a larger plan. Power to you isn't just about force, it's about leverage. You're patient, calculating, and comfortable letting things unfold in your favor over time. Control comes from knowing you've already positioned yourself to win, even if no one else sees it yet. Shoto Todoroki, Ice Fang Wind Flame. You're good at setting boundaries. You don't let people push their way into situations they don't belong in, and you're comfortable shutting things down before they spiral. You prefer control through restraint. Instead of chasing everything head on, you decide where lines are drawn and make sure they're respected. Nejire Hado. You're energetic, curious, and always in motion. You don't like staying grounded for long, preferring to keep some distance and see the bigger picture from above. You are most comfortable when you have room to move and space to think. Being able to look down on a situation rather than getting pulled into the chaos helps you stay calm, focused, and in control. Denki Kaminari, Lightning. You draw a lot of energy from the people around you. Being part of a group motivates you, and you tend to perform best when you can bounce off others' momentum. That said, you're not helpless on your own. When you need to step up solo, you can still get the job done, you just shine a bit brighter in a group. Nato Monoma. You're highly aware of the people around you, sometimes a little too aware. You compare yourself constantly, measuring where you stand and where others fall short. You adapt quickly, take pride in versatility, and enjoy proving that you can do what others do, sometimes even better. Mirio Togeda, Sheer Counter. You're hard to keep down. Even when things aren't going your way, you have a habit of turning situations around when people least expect it. You stay calm under pressure and trust yourself to recover, adapt, and make a comeback. Setbacks don't discourage you, they just give you a better opening later. Armored All Might. You like being ready for anything. You don't leave much to chance, and you prefer having a solution for every situation before it even comes up. Failure isn't really part of your vocabulary. You expect things to work out, and more often than not, they do, because you've already prepared for every outcome. Tomura Shigaraki, Thousand Hand Break. You love feeling powerful and unmovable, taking comfort in knowing it's hard to bring you down. That sense of strength gives you freedom to slow down and look deeper, noticing details and hidden layers others tend to miss. You're drawn to what lies beneath the surface, confident that as long as you remain standing, you'll always have time to uncover more. And that's all 51 characters currently in My Hero Ultra Rumble. Who's your main? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing for more Ultra Rumble content. Thanks for watching, this has been Yestermorn, and I'll see you in the next one.